And John Cookson joins us live from Tel Aviv. John, thank you so much for joining us here on Newsday. What's British Prime Minister Sunak hoping to achieve in Israel?
Well, he's hoping to reinforce Britain's commitment to backing Israel in a rock-solid way. And we've seen constantly in the sound bites that we get from interviews that he does that he is conducting that policy. And in fact, he leaves Israel later today to travel to Saudi Arabia and then in a 2-day visit to the region onto Jordan and Egypt. But his main objective today was to tell the Israeli people that the UK backs what's going on at the moment. And also, I suspect, although this wasn't stated by the Israeli government or the Brits, that he's been asking for information on British hostages still held in Gaza by Hamas. There are approximately 9 of those that we know about. There may be more, because I would imagine in the coming days there'll be some attempt to rescue hostages from the catacombs beneath Gaza, where they're believed to be held, and that's a priority for foreign governments, including the UK and the US. And I suspect, although the UK government will never confirm it, but there will be special forces either on British or American warships in the Eastern Mediterranean, or indeed at a base in Cyprus, waiting for the go signal to try to rescue the hostages, which would be one of the most dangerous operations any special forces would have to commit to. It's just absolutely fraught with things that could go wrong, and not least that Hamas might try to shoot hostages if any special forces get near to them. So a delicate situation, a dangerous situation, and I suspect that's also what Sunak got information on from Netanyahu today.
Right now, still keeping with the global leaders who are visiting Israel, President Biden, of course, his trip was not in vain. He says he expects the Rafah crossing into Gaza from Egypt to open tomorrow. How likely is that?
Yes, this is some movement that I predicted a couple of days ago, that this was an issue that he could make progress on, and it seems that he has. However, there are some steps to go through. First of all, the Egyptians had broadly agreed to open their side of the Rafah crossing and allow these trucks to get through, 20 in the first instance, although there are 100 waiting to get through. But Egypt will seek assurances on safety before anything moves there, because the Israelis have in the past bombed the Rafah area, and of course that will be dangerous for the truckers and aid workers who will no doubt be traveling with them. So Egypt has to get a cast iron assurance on that, and also a cast iron assurance that there won't be a sudden surge through the Rafah crossing of Palestinians trying to get out from Gaza, and who could blame them if they would attempt to do that. So it's a very delicate situation. In principle, it's been agreed, but there's a few hoops to go through before those gates actually open, probably tomorrow.
Well, John, is there any word today about the hostages being held by Hamas?
Nothing that we can report with any confidence. Hamas claims that they're holding about 250 Israelis and foreigners as I said earlier, in the catacombs that run for some 300 kilometers, if you add them all up, underneath Gaza. It's just an incredible network. Indeed, the Palestinians used to call it the underground. Like the London Underground, because these are not just ordinary tunnels. These are tunnels that can take vehicles, and the hostages presumably being held there, terrified out of their lives, no doubt, hearing the explosions above their heads, but no concrete news today.
Right now, of course, we're still holding our breath where it concerns the Israeli expected ground offensive against Hamas in Gaza. Any updates on that?
Look, President Biden is addressing the American people from the Oval Office at midnight UK, Nigeria time, 2 a.m. here in Israel. And I suspect that we might get some clue from that. The other straws in the wind that you look for is that Israeli reservists who've been massing outside Gaza for a few days now have been allowed to go home to see relatives before returning to the front. So the signs are that something may be developing, after the Biden speech. But anything can happen, and indeed, Hamas is still a potent threat. A short time ago, a wave of rockets were fired from Gaza towards Tel Aviv. I don't know whether you have the footage of that. The sirens wailed about half an hour ago, and the Iron Dome system kicked in and managed to take out most of the rockets as far as we know. So things are very difficult at the moment, obviously, but predicting when this ground offensive will take place, there we see the footage. You see Hamas rockets streaking in, and in a moment or two you'll see a cloud of smoke where the Iron Dome system has taken the rocket out. And this was one of several fired a short time ago at Tel Aviv. People, of course, rushing for shelters as they normally do. So Hamas, they're still a very potent force today.
Indeed. Well, John, we'd like to say a big thank you for your time and analysis here on Newsday. Arise Chief Correspondent John Cookson. Thank you, and please be well.